Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Sunday celebration of Spirit here at the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. Please know in your hearts that we love you wherever you are on your spiritual path. And please take this opportunity to turn off your cell phones completely. Really. And then greet someone next to you, especially someone that is new to you. We here at the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living acknowledge that there are indeed infinite paths to God, but there is indeed only one God. The words of this morning's chant will be up here on the screen, followed by a spiritual mind treatment by our practitioner of the day, Marilyn Letsos.
Let's all stand up and sing together. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. Light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. Oh yeah. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me.
Good morning. I'm Marilyn Letsos. I get to be your practitioner this morning. And I would like to invite you to open to Spirit now, to close your eyes and come to that place within that always was, that always will be, and to open to that one great life, that endless flow, that infinite sea of light and love, that source of all that is, that endless supply of unconditional love that never fails, of peace that passes understanding, and joy that needs no reason. For truly this sea around us is seeking to express, waiting to be received and expressed, given and received and given. in the endless flow of life. There is wisdom seeking expression, joy looking for a way to be felt, love that needs to be known, abundance to be received, to be shared, to be received, to be shared in the endless flow. And each person here, each one everywhere, every person is a river of this flow, is a divine emanation. And whether we realize it or not, we are infinite possibility, everyone. And so I speak my word for that openness today, for that opening mind to see things anew, perhaps as never before, to listen, to receive, and to know the truth in a greater, more expansive way about ourselves, to live life fully, richly, as the divine beings who we are. And for this perfect receptivity, I give my thanks. I release this word now into the law. So be it, and so it is. Amen. And now, to be blessed by that exquisite voice of Suzanne Baldwin and our own Bodhi.
Good morning. So Posey was supposed to be with us, but she's really not feeling well, so we'll send some love to Posey this morning. And we are blessed to have Suzanne Baldwin back in the house.
choice each new day brings, and with every step you take, bless the progress that you make. The reason you live is there in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams, you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. Oh, the places you will go and the people you will know. Don't worry when or where or how. You don't need to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead. just enjoy what this day brings. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now. Let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're out there having fun. So close your eyes, just take a breath and smile. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things.
Suzanne Baldwin.
So I hope you received that. I mean, it was a beautiful song, and I adore Suzanne in many ways. But I want you to just get that. The message of that song is so true. Not only will you do amazing things, but you are doing amazing things. All right, well, now that we've got that established. Good morning. I am Reverend Karyl Huntley, your senior minister, and I'd like to welcome you all here this morning. And I noticed that there are some people here today that often are watching us online. So I want to say good morning to all of you in your jammies, and welcome to the people who got dressed today and came. That's wonderful. So this is the last Sunday that we are going to talk about the control of conditions for a while. For those of you who are new here or newish, what we've been doing this year is we have been working our way through an essay by our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, and the essay is What We Believe. If you want to read the whole essay, it's right over there on the easel. And we've been taking a statement each month, and a lot, I mean, like the first 7 statements are about our oneness with Spirit and all of the ways that we can think about that and realize that we are the divine beloved and that we are powerful just the way we are, and that's the reason is because we are literally living the life of God and those kinds of messages about oneness. And then the last bit, or not even the last bit because the last 2 months are just pure rapture. we're talking about how we use the creative law. And the message that we have been, this is about what I'm doing this month, happily coexisting with all our earthly forms. And the message, the piece of the essay that we're working with is we believe in the control of conditions through the power of the mind. And so the theme that we have is all this stuff, the conditions of our life, the things that get us entangled, the money stuff and the relationship stuff and the health stuff and the job stuff and all of that. And the quote, I think, can be misleading, especially to beginning students of metaphysics, because what it suggests to us is if we just wrestle with these conditions in the right way, they will turn out the way we want them. And it doesn't ever happen that way, as I understand it. But what we can do is, in a mature spiritual way, we can either create the life we love, or we can learn to love the life that we have created. And when we do that, we then feel like we have control of conditions enough that we're content, we're fulfilled. So the learning to love the life that we have created is basically the entire bit of work that we do here all the time, except knowing our oneness with God. So there's two basic things: knowing our oneness with God and knowing that we are personally, powerfully creative in learning how to create the life we love. And that's exactly what we do all the time. So if you're new here and if you go, wow, I would really like to get a handle on both of those things, come on back. This is exactly what we do all the time. So I want to connect this week with last week. Last week, the title of the talk was Gently Down the Stream, and it was about flow. And basically the message was that love and order and vibrancy and sufficiency and joy and all of those conditions and are in the state that we want to live are flowing down this infinite river with us. We're flowing down the river. All these divine qualities are flowing down the river, meaning that God has given us all of it already and continues to give all the love that we could ever use and all of the joy that we could ever experience. And so all of this is just flowing down the river with us. And what we can do is just scoop it up. Just scoop it up with a thimble, scoop it up with a coffee cup, scoop it up with a big bucket, and because it's all around us. And we can encourage everybody else to do the same thing because there's no competition. There is enough for everybody. And so last week we talked about flow, and that's the flow. You just flow and you just accept, and there it is. Life's good. However, there is a downside to flow that I want to share with you before I launch into what today is. And that is when the kind of flow that we go and so we say, I'm just going along. Everything's okay. I'm just going along. And the thing is, if you don't give the creative law direction, if you don't say what you want sometimes, then what you get is the law of averages. And sometimes you don't even get the average in the middle because everything has to be balanced. You get something down here that you really don't want. But in order to have all the good that you deserve, there's a couple things that you need to know, and that's what I'm talking about today, because the title of this talk is, Are You Getting All the Good You Deserve? Do you have enough sparkles on that little birthday cupcake there? So, if you give the divine law direction, and then if you learn how to accept what has been given, you will be able to answer the question, yes. The question is, of course, are you getting all the good you deserve? And so the key is, first of all, giving the divine law direction, and then acceptance. Accept it. Let's just try this. Don't smack your neighbor, but just open up, okay? Just acceptance. So I want to direct your attention now to the altar, because this divine heart in the center of Carine's altar, Carine did a beautiful altar, is open. It's open in acceptance. And the gifts are there because a part of acceptance is the giving part. It's not just all in. You know, you can't just breathe in. That doesn't work. You breathe in and you breathe out. That's the whole nature of life on earth, is give and take. And so accept, just turn right around after acceptance and give it back again, and that's that'll work out for you. I'm telling you. I'm going to tell a story about the Red Queen a little bit later on. So when we work with the creative law, if this is a new concept for you, our thoughts and our fears and our assumptions and what we expect, all this muttering of our own individual mind goes into the divine law, and the law says, yes, that's the life they're expecting. That's the life I'm giving. It just says yes to all your mutterings. And so what we want to do is not so much, you know, remember The Secret? Remember the movie The Secret? And remember how there was this girl that saw a necklace in a window, and the next thing, the exact necklace was on her neck, and a guy, I think, was imagining a motorcycle or something, and the next thing, or a sports car, and then he was driving away. His couch turned into a sports car. I don't know. But, you know, it doesn't work that way, okay? But what does work that way is the general atmosphere of our thoughts. If our general atmosphere of our thoughts is looking for the good and praising it, our general atmosphere of our thoughts is awfulizing, the divine law will say yes, and we'll get more of that. So when my stepfather would go out of the house in the morning and say, I wonder what calamity will happen today, the creative law gave him so many calamities, such a great variety of calamity. And so it's the general atmosphere of our thoughts that the creative law takes and uses. So I want to talk today about how to use the creative law first ineffectively and then effectively, because sometimes we use the law ineffectively automatically and we don't zero in on it. So I want to actually thank Mark for the first 2 points of this PowerPoint here. You can all hug Mark after the service because he kind of inspired this whole talk. So, is that the best? The faulty input to the creative law? Poor Eeyore is always so glum, you know. So, first thing is being unable to accept compliments, you know. And now Eeyore was always just like, oh no, it's not really that way. And so, the song said, you will do amazing things. You are good. You are deserving. And when we are told that and we deflect it, if we say, oh no, or it's just something I found in the closet, or, well, my hair doesn't look like this all the time, I just got it done, you know, which I said that this morning. And so, I only teach what I need to learn. So when we do that, when we deflect compliments, what happens is that we are actually saying, no, I am not these things. I am not these good things that you have told me. And so the creative law picks that up and says, well, okay, that's the way they want to appear to themselves, and so we're just going to give them all kinds of things to mope about. So if you just said thank you, and went on, that would be another message to the creative law. Do you see how that goes? So I was going to have you turn to your neighbor and pay them a compliment, but I'm not going to ask you to do that because it might just stress you out too much. But I want you to think about this and do it later. And not just, I like your scarf, but a real truth-telling. That, you know that song about you will do amazing things? I want you to know that I know amazing things that you have done. Or you add to my life so much. I am so blessed that you are in it. So how many are going to think about it and give a real truth compliment to somebody today? Great. And it might be some of you in here. And so what are you going to say when you get one of those? That's right. That's right. Very good. You remember to do that now. And then, of course, well, if you forget and somebody has already heard this talk and they say, what are you supposed to say? Remember. All right, next is not saying what you want. If you go through life and you say, oh, it doesn't matter. What do you want for dinner? Oh, it doesn't matter. What movie do you want to see? Oh, I don't care. What do you want to do tonight? I don't know. What do you want to do tonight? Then the creative law takes that as, you know, your opinion doesn't matter at all. And so it's really good for you to think about what you want and say it. Because a lot of times I think when we were children, we weren't given that opportunity to make choices like that. Or, you know, when you asked for something that you wanted, you said, well, you got, well, money doesn't grow on trees, or do you think you can just have everything? And yeah, you can have pretty much everything that will fulfill you. It's already in that stream that's going along with you. And so getting in the habit of saying what you would like gives the creative law the message that this person really is participating here, and yep, we're going to give it and give it and give it and give it. All right, this next one is lengthy. The faulty input to the creative law includes being stingy, fearful, jealous, competitive, judgmental, and demanding. So let me tell you how that works. So if you are stingy, the message that is behind that of, you know, keeping everything is there's not enough. That's the message that you are telling yourself, because I'm holding on to this. I actually believe there's not enough, and so I better get what I can get before there's not any more to get. So you put that into the creative law, and that's all you'll find is scarcity. And then for fearful, this is a very basic belief. There's only about 2 or 3 of these most basic beliefs. And the basic belief is, do you pretty much think that life is safe, or do you pretty much think that life is dangerous? And when you ask yourself that, you can't lie to yourself. And if you think that life is pretty much dangerous, then the creative law will show you in that infinite variety how life can be dangerous for you. And it's just the version that you've called up. It's really just the version that you've called up. Honestly and truly, you are as safe as a toad in God's pocket. That was another talk. But so then competitive, if you are competitive, that also means there's not enough good to go around, and I have to be extra skillful to get my good. And if somebody else has it, then I can't get it. Oh, no, I'm on jealous. Okay, jealous. There's a limited supply of all good, and if somebody else has it, I can't get it. Well, no. If somebody else has it, that's proof that anybody can have it. Okay? Not the one girl that you've got your eye on, you know, or the one guy you've got your eye on. That person is taken. But as good of a relationship as that is, can be yours. Okay? So now on to competitive. There's not enough for everyone, and I have to get mine. Well, you know what the creative law will do with that. And judgmental is when you think that you're really good for the company that you work for because you can find problems all the time, that is a mindset that you are always looking for problems. You are always looking for what's wrong. You are looking for that's out of sorts. And even if you have the idea, I look for the problems so I can fix them, if your tendency is to be judgmental and notice what's wrong, the creative law will give you more and more and more stuff to find what's wrong. And then finally, demanding is I have to control conditions. I have to be on top of things. I have to do it my way. And I'm just telling you that God is a lot more powerful than we are. And so to learn how to use the creative law effectively, which I'm going to go into in a few minutes, pretty much this is a talk that everything you need to know about life you get today. So how great that you're here. So finally, the faulty input of the law is being closed down. And being closed down, you know what that is. It's folding in on yourself. It's being closed to life. It's being closed to your good and closed to love and closed to abundance, the exact opposite of this heart on the altar here. And all of these ways of being will not get you the good that you deserve. It might give you this feeling of I can handle problems, but how much fun is that? It's just really not so much fun. So you deserve all of the good that you can possibly accept. And because you, by your birthright, are deserving. You are a miracle. You are shot from the heart of God into this world. There's nothing else that's going on about you except God. You are divine by nature, and you deserve all of the good that you can accept. You are justified to receive all of the gifts of life. You are justified in receiving all of the delight and joy and inspiration and fulfillment that you can possibly imagine for yourself. As much as you can hold, you can open further and get more and get better. And it's not just a better car, it's a feeling of waking up in the morning and thinking, my life is so great. I love my life so much. So this is where the Red Queen comes in. If what I have just said feels impossible to you, if you feel just so bedraggled and beaten down by life that you are shaking your head at me and saying, I could never get there in my belief. It's impossible. This is a lesson about impossibility. So, this is from Lewis Carroll and Alice Through the Looking Glass. And so the Red Queen says to Alice, I'm just 101 5 months in a day. And Alice says, I can't believe that. And the Queen says, can't you? Oh, try again. Draw a long breath, shut your eyes. And Alice laughed. There's no use trying, she said. One can't believe in impossible things. And the Queen draws herself up to her full height and width and says, I dare say you haven't had much practice. When I was your age, I always did it for a half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. And so that's what the Red Queen is saying there. You should come up and take a close look at her. 6 impossible things before breakfast. And you can do the same thing. You can have a list of what seems to be impossible things about love and success and vibrancy, and you can go over them before breakfast. And if you work on them, if you say, my job is to believe this, my job is to believe this, then the creative law will work with you. And I am telling you, miracles will occur. So I want us all to say, I am deserving of all good. I am deserving of all good. Now, in a minute, I'm going to ask you to say, I believe I am deserving of all good. And I want you to feel inside if there's any argument, if there's any little voice in there that says, bullshit, you know. Okay. All right, I believe I am deserving of all good. I believe I am deserving of all good. If there's any argument within you, I beg you to get a prayer from one of our practitioners this morning, because that is a pain that is installed in you that is a lie. It's a lie. It's a little lie that's coming up and saying, no, 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 you can shout that all you want, but I know the truth. And that isn't the truth. That's a little lie that wants to stay alive. And the practitioner knows how to gently escort it away from your consciousness so that you can work the creative law better. So now we're going to look at how to do the creative law positively and get all the honey you deserve, okay? So some of these things are very easy and they're fun. It's fun. Spiritual truth should be fun. First is notice what is fabulous. Put your attention on what is fabulous. And when you notice it, when you notice something that's fabulous and you really let it touch your heart, then you are accepting it. And that's the word for today, acceptance. Remember, all of this good is flowing by us on this river, and if you're not getting enough of it, you're not good at accepting. So these are little steps along the road of accepting, and this one is notice what is fabulous. Next is be grateful. It is such a powerfully creative feeling for you to let gratitude well up within you and to have that feeling of, I am so blessed. And ideally, this should happen several times a day, that things well up and you say, I am so grateful that this is in my life. So for just a moment, call out some things you're grateful for. Okay, this is not working. Okay, Mary, call one out.
My family.
Your family. Jerry, call one out. Friends. Elizabeth, call one out.
Health.
Okay, great. Phil, call one out. Oh, yeah. Now, all of those friends and family and wives and health, can you have that just well up within you? I am grateful for Phil's wife. And that's the other thing, that we can be grateful for Mary's friends. It doesn't even have, I am so grateful when I see somebody love on somebody else in this community. When I see somebody fall into somebody else's arms, I am so grateful for that love. So all kinds of ways of practicing gratitude. And then next is making a habit of saying, I would love. Instead of when you are tempted to nurture the fearful thoughts, just, write it on your hand or put it on the mirror or something. Move to say what I would love. Instead of this fearful thing that I'm not even going to think about, what I would love is this. What I would love is, I would love our practitioners to be as vibrant every single day as they were this weekend when we were on retreat together. I would love that. I would love for every practitioner to bounce in here and say, I'm so happy to be a practitioner today. I'm so grateful. And I would love that because I saw it and it was so fabulous. And we're real close to that. And so I also, when I'm at a restaurant, it kind of surprises the waitress sometimes when she's there, what can I get for you? I say, I would love the pork chops. And she's like, well, all right then, I'll bring you the pork chops. But it's like I train myself to say what I would love. And it's fun. So I'd like you to do that too. So the last thing about positive input to stimulate the creative law is giving. Giving is a big, big, big way to get what you want. And it's like that breathing thing. You breathe in and receive, and you breathe out and give. You can't just do one. But either way, if you really do one or the other, either inhale or exhale, it stimulates the next thing. So if you breathe out and then, you really empty your lungs, that next breath is going to be bigger. And if you breathe in and fill up your whole lung capacity, the exhale will be bigger. That's spiritual principle. And so if you give more with greater enthusiasm, you will receive more. That is the way it is. So when we are loose and open, we are ready to accept. And when you wake up every day and say, what can I give today? My goodness, you are going to receive more as well. So there is a spiritual learning that people leap into. It is a transformation. And I have, in my 25 years of ministry, I have not learned how to make it happen. It is like grace. It happens when it's ready. But the leap of spiritual learning is that there is real joy in service, and there is real joy in giving of your supply, in other words, money. And there are people who are on teams in this community who just say, I love it. The bookstore women, Leslie and Cindy Lou. Well, yeah. Well, that certainly says it all. They are so joyful in service that you see it, and it's radiant. You can't teach that stuff. But every once in a while, there is another volunteer who slips in there and says, I didn't know I would love it, but I love it. And it's the same thing about tithing, that I can't get people ready and push them over the edge. But when they catch that tithing is a way to link their well-being to their source, which is God, and every time they give 10% of their money, they say, I am open to receive more. They are joy-filled. They would never stop tithing. And do you see what I'm saying? It's a little leap. It's a little leap. A leap into the love of service, a leap into the love of giving money and tithing. It's good for you. And if I can just encourage you to even think along those lines, I am curious about how that might work. That's all God needs. But boy, I want that for everybody. And so we're in our sharing program, of course, as you know, we formally finished today, although we will be making calls if we need to. And I want everybody to participate in this program with absolute joy. So at the practitioner retreat, we were talking about this, and one of the practitioners said, you know, I brought someone one time, and they happened to come during the pledge program, and you talked about giving and the importance of giving, and he said he'll never come back because he says all you do is talk about money. Well, I want to say, if that is going on in any of your hearts and minds right now, I've said a lot more today than about money. But if, when I say money, that hurts, it's not because I've hurt you. It is because you have a pain already inside around scarcity. And I have reminded you of your pain. And so you, in your painful state, do what a lot of people do, and that is put it on who's ever in front of you. You made me feel this way, and I didn't. I want not more than anything else, but I wanted a real lot for all of us to be happy, happy givers, because that makes us happy, happy receivers. Do you understand that? That's the message. I am here so that your life may be more abundant. And that's the absolute truth. So the map of getting from where you are of fear and scarcity to happy, happy, happy giving, no matter what's coming from you, is just a little bit. It's, I am deserving, there is enough, God is generous. I am made in God's image. That's it. I am deserving. There is enough. God is generous, and I am made in that image. So I'm generous. You're generous. You're going to do amazing things. And so that is what I plan to say today. Thank you. So our takeaway is, I deserve all the good I can be open to receive. And that is absolutely your truth and my truth. So let's take this within, if you would, for the inner work. And for this moment, I would like you to imagine your physical body as an open column. It is as open as a flute before the first note. And as that open place in each one of us remains open because we have given all our heart contains, we are then open to receive. And as all of that worry and fear about scarcity melts away, the beauty of the note of our heart is more and more clear and more beautiful. And as easily as the note hangs in the air, the generosity of our giving moves out into the world, and we remain open to receive. Blessed be.
and I thank you.
You know, another thing that happens when our heart is open is that our eyes leak. Have you noticed that? You know, it's one of those things. So would the ushers please come forward? And now is the time for us to practice that giving and receiving. You give your offering, and then you just open to receive what blessing is next. So this should be done with a lot of joy and a lot of gratitude for, you know, this. You worked hard for this money, and now you're giving it, and that's a great thing because you're giving it to a high calling, and you're supporting a wonderful work. You're giving spiritual community to the people to the right and left of you. So that's a wonderful thing you're doing. So holding your gift, please repeat this. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. Very good. So it is. So would the ushers please receive the gifts? The gifts of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the Spirit, are you ready to receive? Gifts of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the Spirit, are you ready to receive? Love, are you ready? Joy, are you ready? Peace, are you ready? Are you ready to receive? These are the gifts of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the Spirit, are you ready to receive? Gifts of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the Spirit, are you ready to receive? Love, are you ready? Are you ready? Peace, are you ready? Are you ready to receive? These are the gifts of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. The gifts of the Spirit, are you ready to receive? Gifts of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the Spirit, are you ready to receive? Love, are you ready? Love, are you ready? Peace, are you ready? Are you ready to receive? loving hearts who gave it. The blessings move through this community to the world beyond, and so it is. Amen. Thank you, ushers. Okay. We have 101 announcements today. Kidding. But we do have an abundance of things going on. And the first, of course, is the sharing program. We would love it if you have not, those of us that have put our sharing card in, that's why we're wearing this. I'd like to ask Francine, who's back from a wonderful, abundant time in Michigan. We missed her. And this is Phil's wife, by the way.
Good morning. I am so happy to be a practitioner in this community. Yes. And I can't tell you, I'm so happy to be back. We've been gone for 2.5 months, and I will say that that is our declaration of abundant living. So that's what I want to talk about very briefly, because, Karyl, that's such a great setup you gave me. That whole talk is the setup for this. So we do create from what we believe. How we think is how we live. What we believe is what we experience. And as Karyl said in her talk, we choose first. It's our choice first because everything has already been given. So we get to choose. So in the example of us being gone for 2.5 months at our beautiful summer home, we didn't wait till we thought we had enough of this or enough of that or the right conditions were in place. One year we just chose and said, let's do this and see what happens. And now that's what we do. We choose that and we let the universe respond to us. So in this sharing program, we used to call it Pledge, but Pledge sounds a lot like it's about us. And the sharing program is really called that because it's about you, it's about all of us, and it is about how we participate in this creative law, as Karyl talked about. So I want to give you just some examples of what we might hear in this, or how things might sound, and another way to think about it, because we get to choose how we do that, the negative or the positive use. So you might hear during this program that we do every year, you might hear this as an obligation, that there's a sense of obligation of giving. Or you might choose to see it as a way of participating in this community. Everything here that makes this possible is completely because of the gifts and the donations by all of us, So that choice is not the obligation, the choice is participation in this community that feeds us and nourishes us, and what we get from Karyl and everyone here every week. It's participating in that and wanting to support that and being in the flow of that. You might hear this particular program as sometimes feeling needy, that we need your money, that we're coming from need. And so I want to tell you that for each one of us here, we don't need your money. We're going to meet our goal. We're a thriving community. But your choice of hearing that instead of from needy to that we are here for you, we're here because of you, is a whole different way of thinking about that. That we're not asking from that needy place. We're offering you the opportunity to direct your resources to your highest spiritual intention, to where you receive your highest inspiration, to what fuels you, which is this community. If you're here, I assume. So you hear how the difference is of the way we can think about it, and we can choose a different way to think about it and a different way to experience it. So when we think of that particular thing we call the pledge card or pledge or the sharing, the great thing about when we do it at this time of year is this is a way for you to set your intention for 2015. It's still October, and it's setting a powerful intention. And so as Karyl began her talk, we can have the choice of saying, I don't need to do a pledge card, I'm just going to wait and see what happens. I'll give as I decide to give in January, today, next week. And in a sense, that's like, I'm just going to go along. I'm just going to go along with how it has been or how it is. But to me, that card is a very powerful way of using the creative law to set your intention for the next year, to put it in motion, to say, I am so grateful. I have so much. There is plenty in my world. Because I can tell you that one that believes in plenty, one that believes that there's always plenty, will always have plenty. And when we believe that there's never enough or not enough, there won't be enough. So I look at that card as a great opportunity for me to choose to participate fully in the creative law, to choose to participate in this blessed, blessed community that I call home, to choose to direct the resources that I have and the resources that are coming to my highest spiritual intention and expression. And I look at that as just a great opportunity. So I can tell you that this year, when I filled out my pledge card, I doubled the number. I doubled that number because I looked at it in that same way of thinking that we choose as practicing religious scientists. And I thought, well, now what is it that I really want to put forth for the next year? Do I want to say, I'm just going to go along? Do I want to say, what did I give this year? I just want that next year. I don't choose more. I don't choose expansion. When I looked at that, I realized that my nature is expansion. My nature, man, I've got big ideas for next year. And so I use that card as a powerful demonstration to my own consciousness, to the universe, to the creative law, and said, I'm doubling this number. I'm signing up for more for next year. And now I don't have to wait till January 1st to start practicing that, because I know that the minute I wrote that down, I ponied up to it. So I fully expect between now and then, I expect that to come back and work with me and to show up in so many ways to unfold for me, because of that powerful choice. Wonderful surprises. So I just offer this as a way for you to think about how you think about this. Because as we're all sitting here getting this teaching, this is our teaching, that how we think of things is mirrored exactly by how we experience things. So like everything there is, this is just one opportunity, and it is a powerful opportunity to change our thinking about the sharing program. And if you have any questions, I'd love to talk more about it. It's my favorite subject. If you have any questions about making your decision, about how it works, or anything like that, there's going to be tables in the center for you to talk to people about it, and we'll have cards and everything. So I thank you in advance, and I thank you for being my spiritual community.
Perfect. Just so we don't have to set up the tables in the middle and take time for that, there's one in the corner that's already set up for you. So just get your coffee and go back there and talk to folks if you want to. Golden Gate Gourmets for Good. This is a new series of parties that's going to happen between January and May. So we already have like 4 hosts signed up. I'm going to have an opening of the backyard party, probably right at the equinox. And so if you would like to offer a party for your friends here, this is kind of a fundraiser for the community, because we will ask your guests to pay. They pay the community. You give the party. The guests enjoy the party, and the community benefits as well. So we're looking for hosts. Back table is where the sign-up sheet is. Happy birthday, Scorpios. that would be this Friday at Sue Ruta's house. We're going to have a Halloween celebration for the Scorpios. It should be fabulous. Everyone, of course, is invited. Just bring a little food, and these parties are very, very fun. Next month in November, the whole theme is generosity, and we're going to go into the next sentence of the Ernest Holmes essay. And am I still on the right one here? We're on, yep. The ritual for November, on November 7th, is going to be about rest, because we're going into the dark time of year, and so we're going to do that ritually. We have 4 people signed up and paid. We need 6. In order for this to go. So today would be the day, and Carine is going to be at the back table and will help you register. And we are starting something brand new, because many of you have asked to serve in the bigger community, just in answer to the prayer of my talk today. So we are going to be participating in REST, which is the Rotating Emergency Shelter Team. There's a sign-up sheet back there under the clock, and you would be helping to serve a meal to homeless people once a month at a church in Tiburon. And we will give you all the details. If you would like to be a part of this team and open your heart to that wonderful service, we would greatly appreciate it. Then, this is so fun. Thanksgiving celebrations, you have 2 to choose from. I've never heard of this before in my life, a Thanksgiving breakfast. But you can come in your jogging suit or your jammies to Jet Walker's house and have a potluck Thanksgiving breakfast and Skype with our partner center in Temenos, who will be finishing their Thanksgiving dinner 11 time zones away. It should be very, very fun. And then our wonderful Russ Mabardi is hosting our Thanksgiving dinner for the community. If you would like to be a part of this family celebration from your community, he can host 12 of you. So that sign up right back there and run and put your name on one of the lines. And then finally, I want Eleanor, darling Eleanor, to come up here. That girl right there, that girl. So Eleanor has been working in the office for too short a time. And we have loved her, and she has served us in such a beautiful, gentle, organized, skillful way. And she is leaving us, at least for now, because she is pursuing a degree at Sonoma State. And I just want us all to give her an acknowledgement and beautiful wishes for the future. Appreciate it. And the holiday craft fair, do we have that? I don't think we have that on. Okay, holiday craft fair. We didn't make a slide. Here's the slide. So on December 7th, we're having a holiday craft fair. So all of you crafters need to get an application, and you get the application either online or from Gail Durkin. Please stand, darling. There they are. And we will have a wonderful shopping day that also includes child care. And so, and it's going to go later. It's going to go till 1:30, so you'll have plenty of shopping time. So cash on December 7th, all right? And then finally, let me be the first to tell you that daylight savings time is off next Sunday. Next Sunday. So if you come at your regular time, you'll help us set up, and it will be so nice. And then as the practitioners surround the room, I would like you to remember to give a truth compliment to someone today. And especially as the practitioners surround the room right now, if you would feel their wonderful, wonderful warmth coming from their retreat this weekend. And so now for your blessing. Oh, may each one here be as open as a flute to give and then receive. Give and then receive in happy acceptance. And may Spirit, as always, guide your way. So many blessings. Please stand for your affirmation. All together. I remain completely open to receive my good and to give my gifts. I am grateful in my acceptance and joyful in my generosity. I am completely open to God.